Now, I might sound like a bit of a warmonger with what I'm about to say. However, advanced weapons are really good. Really, really good. Are they the best to trade with? Not really, but at this stage, we can do a lot with it. So let's get to work on making a whole bunch of advanced weapons. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Anno 1800 Beginner's Guide series. Today we're going to be talking about advanced weapons. We're going to be talking about a little bit more optimizations with your industrial island to begin with, and this is part 3. So we're going to be working primarily on how are we meant to get all of our resources in order to keep our factories running. Okay, that's really important. Because we don't want this industrial island to stop at any time. The only time we want it to stop, I say in air quotes, is when they're actually full up on the items that we need, right? So like steel beams, reinforced concrete, bricks, all that stuff, right? The main thing here is we have to really find a resource that we can sell, a trade item, if you were, to make sure we get all of that stuff necessary. And one really powerful one is advanced weapons at this stage in the game. Later on, I'm going to tell you, if you do have high life with skyscrapers and all that stuff, elevators is just ridiculously busted if you put it into the Docklands. And again, just to reiterate, I know I sound like a broken record, but I am going based off, again, the assumption that you do have the Docklands DLC at this point. If you do not, however, I will tell you what you can do to also manage this chain altogether. Okay, so let's begin. Before we get on with anything else regarding the advanced weapons itself, let's check in on our power plant and our oil reserves. We have 1 oil left in here. Do we have any in here? No, we do not. This is a problem. This is what you don't want to see. And this was a part of the test that I was actually doing. We have 1 oil tanker bringing 400 oil to Ultramar right now. Remember, we can't optimize those tankers. And you know what? Funnily enough, it's probably this one right now. Yeah, Star Shadow 2. It is bringing 400 oil for us right now. There's not a problem with Fenris providing the oil to us right now. It is a simple fact that these power plants go through a lot of oil very quickly. So that means we have to test to make sure that we have a stable oil route and that our oil harbor is always going to be full of oil. So what we have actually done is this whole process, it means that this 1 tanker is not fast enough to bring over 400 oil to this island in time for this 1 power plant to remain stable. We're going to have to add more on. And what we've done is we've gone ahead and built another tanker, the Nifty Mullet. I wasn't aware we had Anakin Skywalker in here. I just literally made an Anakin reference a couple episodes ago, and here it is. So we have another oil tanker on here, and I did not name it. It named it by itself. You can even go check it. They literally, it's a part of the game. You can name a ship that. That's what the game gives. Anyway, moving that to the side. We have 2 oil tankers on this route now, and that is essentially what we want to see, because now with 400 more oil in here, it's going to immediately transport 100 over to this power plant, and hopefully the other ship is in the New World or is coming back from the New World, one of the two. There it is. It's actually just reaching the New World. So this is okay-ish. We shouldn't see a issue with regards to there not being enough oil in here, because there definitely is, right? A neighboring island is not consuming as much oil as I thought it would, so that's 1 plus. The only issue with this is just its position and the fact that these ships are unfortunately a little bit on the slower side. So we want to always make sure that we have very stable oil routes. That is not to say that we cannot tap into some oil here in the old world. We definitely can. But like, for example, Roma only has 4 oil springs, and it's not producing enough to power 2 power plants. Actually, 2 power plants plus 3 power plants. Excuse me, I forgot about the one over there. 3 power plants plus a fuel station, right? We don't want to really tap into this too much because even this spot is greatly decreasing. So we might have to consider going over to the New World, finding another island, and getting more oil production going. What I personally like to do is in the New World, I kind of like to once again start scouting for an island that's not too large, but has a decent amount of oil springs. So like this one, for example, is pretty decent. It has 12 oil springs, a bunch of other resources we can tap into, and its position on the map is really important because it's right here. It's right next to the open water, right? We can put an oil harbor down over here. We can put an oil harbor down over here so the ships could come in. Heck, we can actually put the main harbor area for our citizens over on this side and then leave this larger end over here for the oil store. So then the tankers will just steam right in and then they'll just go right out. This is something we'll probably have to work on because we don't want the industrial island to go down at any time. Having a single island or two islands devoted to bringing oil over to your industrial island is not a bad idea. It definitely, what I also like to consider industrial islands sometimes to be, they are pretty much resource sucks. Okay, so you're gonna have to put a lot of resources into something like this in order for it to function the way that you want it to. So again, the return has to be very, very good. It has to be balanced. What is this notification? Oh boy, yeah, how about I just, go over here, talk to him, do this, and hey, request ceasefire, there you go, yeah, perfect, wonderful. It's crazy to think that I actually have higher reputation with Anne than I do with Princess Jink. That is a problem. How about, flatter you? You're not flattered. Okay, how about a gift? Okay, perfect. Not gonna ask for a quest, but hey, you want a non-aggression real quick? Nope. Oh, we're still in non-aggression. Okay, so that's perfect. All right. So let's get the basis of the dynamite factories working. So we have this oil power plant over here, and I just really want to stick to this side until we get the whole power station, the oil routes all set up. So let's go ahead and extend this road with paved roads because we actually do have enough. And let's take a look at the advanced weapons production chain. So you'll notice there's a whole bunch here. Okay, pigs into tallow, saltpeter works, tallow and saltpeter into dynamite. That's one half. The other half being iron and coal into steel, and the steel into the heavy weapons. Okay, so this whole chain can look a little bit like, whoa, where do I start with this? Well, very simple. Pigs are easy. I'm going to go and start with, if you do not have Docklands, pigs are easy by default to actually get a whole bunch of, because if you have like silos, if you do have Bright Harvest DLC, if you don't, then, you know, getting a whole bunch of pig farms on one island with a trade union that is really bare bones, like with trade union and getting like a whole bunch of specialists in there that help boost the speed in which you actually get more pigs out of, that's not too difficult. What is difficult about this chain is mostly the saltpeter works, because this one is slow. 2-minute processing speed for saltpeter is very slow, okay? It's very similar to that of the vineyards. We don't really want it to be that, you know, glacial when it comes to its pacing. And improved by electricity, meaning that it's just going to be at a minute once you actually put electricity to it. So these things are producible on islands. You know, even Roma right now is actually producing saltpeter for that one dynamite factory that we have over here still, right? We have 2 saltpeter works in the front. And I definitely feel like we should keep these going because, I mean, heck, if they're working for us, we might as well. And we could also consider putting some saltpeter works over on this side to help supplement sending it over later to Ultramar. This is, again, going back to the question of, like, you're going to be bringing a whole bunch of stuff over here to Daniel's question. You're going to be bringing a whole bunch of stuff over to the industrial island. Yes, you are. You're going to have to, because that one island is not capable of providing everything in order to get all the chains constantly running. You have to help it. So we can have the saltpeter works still working over here, and until we get it all situated over there with the dynamite and the advanced weapons factories, we're not going to delete these, because I think we actually have close to 100 in here. That's perfect. Yep. So heading back over to Ultramar itself, let's go ahead and put down some of the dynamite factories. Now, normally, I don't actually like to optimize these because they're fast by default. 30 seconds with electricity, so naturally you're going to go through that saltpeter very quickly, and the rendering works will be on par with this, so that's okay. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I think for, in the grand scheme of things, we can have around 4. And because these are a building that I tend to, in my expert campaign at least, they explode like no tomorrow, I would consider giving them at least a tile break in between, just to be completely safe, okay? Just to be completely safe. And we'll build a road in between. Just make sure that they're all connected with electricity, which in this case they are. That is fantastic. We're going to go ahead and build up these 2 warehouses. And what we can start off by checking is, do we actually have enough of the items through Docklands? Because again, you can go ahead and import them like this. We do have the pigs here. We do have the tallow. We don't have the saltpeter. So what I would like to try is, because we have capped out on steel, and saltpeter on this is not a very important resource, I definitely want to start trading some of the steel in order to get a decent amount of saltpeter. So we're getting 351 from that, and he will be coming back in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. All the while this is happening, notice that these values have fluctuated or have decreased, specifically with the reinforced concrete. The reason for this is good old passive trade. Where's my ship? Right here. This ship is constantly bringing stuff over. Now look at this island. We didn't have a lot of steel beams over here. We didn't have a lot of our bricks over here. The windows are coming back. All these are passively supplementing our growth here in Roma once more. Another reason why an industrial island is fantastic to work on. So while that's actually happening, I do need to snag some of the reinforced concrete from here. And I'll take 100 because we have 2 reinforced concrete factories that are working right now over here. The problem with it is that because they don't have electricity to them quite yet, they're not working as fast as they should be. They're only at a minute processing speed. So we're not getting a lot right now. That's unfortunate. But the good thing is, when we do get the complex all up and running, then they will be working very fast, and we'll have to really balance out the steel because we don't want the steel to run out. As we just noticed, the advanced weapons also requires steel, which, you know, it is it's difficult because you can't actually change the inputs for this one, but you can always put some really cool specialists to these to actually help make them a lot faster. And I think you can get them somewhere in the 20-second range. That's very fast for some advanced weapons. You can easily trade with these later on. Very, very quickly, very easily. The dynamite, you can go even faster. You can go into single digits with these things if you really wanted to. So, we have the basis for all of these. What we would like to see is one of these dynamite factories actually built. So we'll go ahead and fast forward it until the flagship actually arrives. And hopefully we'll see another shipment of oil arrive relatively soon. Let's just check and see where the nifty mullet actually is in the world. Is it you? There we go. It's coming. So I think we will have one stable oil route right now in order to actually get this whole kit and caboodle run. So let's get the first dynamite factory built. And this thing is just going to start already. We don't have the saltpeter here, so it will collect what item it does have in there so far. And in that case, it is going to be the tallow. So it's going to collect the tallow. It's going to bring it over to the dynamite factory itself. And then once the trade has come through, then it will collect the saltpeter and get to work. We have to now set up the quarter for the advanced weapons. Now, because of the size of the building, this could get a little tricky. What I did is I went ahead and put an additional power plant blueprint over here because we want to utilize this big space, okay? We don't want to just leave it to waste, right? Let's find a good spot, and I think this is going to be the best one to put a trade union down. And we're going to immediately build the trade union so we can start placing all of these heavy weapon factories around it, okay? And again, because of the building's size, it is quite large, and we're going to have to be very careful with this. So we can put it like so, and we'll just hug them as much as we can to the trade union. The unfortunate thing here being where the power station is, so it's not going to look even on both sides. But at least we're going to be able to get 6 of these here easily. Now, we might be able to put one on the outskirts somewhere if we can position it a little bit better. Let's bring these two close to one another and take a look at the radius. We might be able to fit one in here. Nope. It's a very large building, unfortunately, which makes it even more difficult to get a trade union fully optimized for these guys. But having 6 is also definitely nothing to worry about. This is fantastic, actually. So we have all of them connected via road. This one is connected through this little piece, this one from there. These ones are all connected with the main spot, so we're good. We're pretty good. We're also going to need to get a small warehouse built over here. And I want to try to see if it's possible building one on the outskirts, because we want to make sure that they have enough room to get to warehouses and they don't have an issue, right? So let's connect the road here all the way into here. So now we've essentially hugged this whole little spot for the advanced weapons very, very well. And we can go ahead and put a warehouse over here and like maybe one for good measure back there. And if we were to check with the power station itself, we can put a road connection to it like this. And it will, once we have it all with paved roads, it will get the entire outskirts of this, but do realize every single one of these buildings, if we were to turn this thing on, if we were to flip the on switch, would actually have electricity. We just need to make sure we have the oil routes set up. So let's take a look over here, 116. Yep. So this one is going through so much oil, it's ridiculous. And now Captain Tobias is coming in with the saltpeter, which is fantastic. What we can do is we can go ahead and build one of these factories right now, and we should definitely do that. The problem is that this thing won't actually work without electricity. And I hear the fire. I hear a fire. Yep, it's right there. Isn't that fantastic? We might be able to cheese this a little bit for the sake of the guide. Let's connect this side, and we should see electricity reach this one. Yep, we did. So if we really want to build 2 of these power plants, or 2 of these plants would actually work. Let's build up this warehouse as well so they don't have to go all the way to this one. And what we're going to see now is they're going to bring in the steel first, because the dynamite is not yet produced. He's just now arriving, and I would like to definitely go over here because she does not like me very much. And she definitely does not want a non-aggression pact with me. She just flat out hates me. Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. Okay, so we have this set up, and he's trading now. We're going to fast forward this a little bit, and I just want to kind of double back to Roma and talk about what we need to really focus on here. So, the soap has run out, and that is a problem because now all these are definitely struggling. Until we get the soap kind of situated, what we want to try to do is change the inputs a little bit here, specifically with the fish, and bring in soap itself. Because, again, you know, it is a legendary export, it's not good enough for a common level. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's get some more in here. Let's bring about 400. We get 274. And then when is he actually coming back? In 17 minutes. So we won't see this, unfortunately. That's a big problem. But what has happened here is this one no longer has tallow. And we're just going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, because we don't need this thing here anymore. We also can keep this particular heavy weapons factory running, and I suggest you do so because we still have a lot of dynamite here, and we still have a decent amount of steel here. So we can get another 100 or some odd advanced weapons come out from Roma before it's done. Okay, that's really good. So we'll go ahead and delete these ones as well. If you're also on the easier difficulty mode, do note that even if you do get above these ones, like let's say you're capped out at 800 and 800 here, and you delete these to get your items back, your construction materials back, they're just going to disappear. So if you want, use up or send some of those materials over to another island and then actually delete these buildings. But right now, I quite frankly don't care about it. We're just going to delete them anyway. And that's going to help out with the workforce just a little bit. So if we head back over to the industrial island, we'll see that the dynamite factory is indeed working. It has saltpeter, it has tallow, and now the heavy weapons factory is also working. A minute processing speed, which is fantastic, and we can potentially get another one going. We're just going to have to get a little bit more resources in here, but once you get this complex up and running, you will find that you will be in such a good and comfortable position, because remember, this is still at a common level export. Okay, you want to get it all the way up here. And the way you do that is with selling a lot of it or trading a lot of it through the Docklands if you do have this. The higher up the chain it is, the better the ratios. And you want a damn good ratio when it comes to these ones. Later on, much later on probably, I'm going to show you guys how powerful elevators are and how fast you can make them. It's so fast that literally it's in the single seconds, like 4 seconds, 5 seconds, for elevators. You can produce somewhere close to 200 easily per minute with those. Advanced weapons, you can't get that fast, but there are definitely ways to make sure you can boost this to get it to that stage or close to it, right? So, we have this all set up. This is another major source. What I will do from the time that you guys are watching this episode to the next one, I'm going to obviously fix the whole issue with the workers over here not having their soap, but I will also work on building more of the buildings so they're not just blueprints, and we can see how much more effective the island is going to be, along with making sure we get another island in the New World set up for oil so we can have more oil being brought over here. We don't have to worry too much about our oil routes at that point. And we can see the canneries have electricity. We can see the brass smelteries up and running. We can get every single one of the reinforced concrete going, the windows. We can have so much of these to trade with. That is what I will be working on. That is what I also want you guys to work on if you are working on getting an industrial island of your own going. Do not ever sleep on advanced weapons. They are very good to sell if you need to get a lot of money very quickly. They're just a little bit on the slower side. They're great to optimize. They are definitely, they look difficult. They're not particularly compared to a lot of other chains in this game. And they will bail you out early on with not only getting all the items you need for your industrial, your construction materials, your base stuff, and later on to produce some really powerful ships. So, part 3, done. As I mentioned, going to be working a whole bunch on this island from now until the next episode. We're going to see a lot more optimization go into the last one. We're going to talk about specific items we can get to actually make these ones look even better, to get them faster, to make them more effective, so you can definitely go on an absolute wrecking ball of destruction. And I think the first person I'm going to go after in this particular guide, I'm literally going to say it, is going to be Princess Jing, because she just does not like me anymore. I'm sorry, I forgot to save her sister. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Hope you found it informative. If you do have any questions, please, please, please put them in the comment section. I will do my best to respond back to them as quickly as possible, because I definitely want you guys to feel reassured that you are playing the game very effectively. You're calm about it. You're having fun. That is the most important thing. You have to have fun, okay? If you're not having fun, what's the point of playing the game, right? You're just going to throw it away. You don't want to have that happen. It's a beautiful game. It's an amazing scenario. It's incredible what they've been able to produce here. And I hope that Anno 117 is also going to be on the same par, if not better than this one. It's going to be very difficult for them to reach it, but we will see nonetheless. So, until next time, my friends, thank you so much. Please consider like, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell button, sharing with your friends. If you do interested on joining the Discord link is in the description if you're new here. I'm going to start advertising for the Discord more, because it's really important to get more people in there, get lively talks. There's a bunch of people that are already in there, and we want to start working more and getting to know one another in a healthy, positive, constructive way. So, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next episode, my Rantians.